Alright, so after like hours on top of hours of farming and escalations, we finally got our first legendary weapon from Malkarion. Out of other ones I decided to go for and try and farm out, I decided to go for the fist when it came down to it. I just like them better. I'm a big fan of the fist. And this was the only thing I can really like think of potentially making a build for, and it might come out okay because you can only take a perk and unique effect from a weapon of the same element. And considering I didn't really like too many of the perks and unique elements from any of the other lightning weapons, so this is kind of like really hard for me. But the best part about this weapon being freaking 2 prismatic cells, meaning that you can put any cell you want into these. So the combinations are pretty good in that sense. So this is why I pretty much decided to go with the fist. And I can't wait to see how this legendary ability works. I'm excited to, get some work in and put some time in with this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and craft this bitch. Go ahead and put together a small build for this just to see, what it can do and maybe get some good DPS out of it. Alright, so I do have to work on getting these up. I need to farm a little bit for that, but I'm not going to worry too much about that because it's good enough for where it is right now. The build I ended up going with, because I could swap any cells in and out, is the one closely related to the Hands of Dawn Gauntlets build, which is my attack/crit build that I will leave a link to in the description below if you do want to check that out, or if you were interested in the late game build for one particular gauntlet. So with that being said, we can pretty much just go ahead and hop into it and check out the gauntlets now and then worry about upgrading them and seeing whether they're worthy later on. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to try out the special ability, see what it does. So LBRV. I mean, it looks cool. Now, I'm out of curiosity. I'm wondering if it has a range on like where you could use. I'm wondering if it has a range on like. Okay, so I mean, like the special ability, it looks kind of cool, but it doesn't seem like it does enough or a lot to even be relatively worth it. I'm actually curious as to how far the distance is for to use the special ability. So I can't use it from this, or I want to see if like I can use it when I'm about to engage the behemoth. Nope, I meant to do that before I got engaged the behemoth. I'm gonna go ahead and walk away a little bit just to see if I can use it. I feel like this is a pretty good distance. Oh, okay, that's not a bad distance. But like, yeah, it doesn't do a lot, it seems. Honestly, I'm not feeling too good about this weapon. Nothing about it just seems super worth it at the moment. And we're just gonna do a little bit more testing, but I'm like pretty much set on how I feel about this weapon at the moment. So it is possible to crit with it. I'm not gonna lie, I accidentally did that. Didn't mean to, but here we are. I don't think the potion is gonna make too much of a difference, but I'm just gonna go ahead and see. Try and like do it while it's in rage, just to add on the extra damage, but I still don't think it's gonna be worth it, so. Alright, we got it to enrage. We'll go ahead and pop perk. Alright, so we pretty much have maximum damage. I'm gonna add the tapping, hold, pop it. Oh, it can be interrupted. Okay, so that's another thing. That was a little bit better, but that's like too much. Too many resources you have to give in order for it to be good, in my opinion. As it stands, I would say this weapon is not worth taking, in my honest opinion. I like the concept and the idea of having a special ability and a weapon where there's a lot more variety in terms of like the cells itself, and being able to have another weapon's bonuses. I like all of those ideas. The concept of it is really, really good. it feels like a way to make, you know, the weapon feel more my own. And if anything else, and I like being able to have variety and stuff. So the concept of it in terms of like being potentially used for a lot of different things and in a lot of different ways is all there. The legendary ability, in my opinion, is it's a good ability, but just being able to use it once and it doesn't do too much. I feel like it's not like a game-changing ability. That's the issue with it. You know, it's not something I can, you know, pick out and say, you know, okay, I have a lot better chance of potentially beating this behemoth by using this ability. It looks cool, it's flashy, but in terms of damage, it's shit. And being able to only use it once per behemoth is absolute garbage. I honestly hope they take that into consideration and make it so, like, it either has like a cooldown or maybe a potential like execution, like the lower the behemoth's health is, you know, the more damage it does, or vice versa. If it has more health, you do more damage, whatever the case may be. Or like if you use it and get a kill on behemoth in escalation, you know, the next time you use it, it does more damage. Something along those lines in order to help this weapon. Because like I said, the concept of it is good. If it's going, you know, based off of like elemental usage and being stuck in a category of the type of weapon itself, then I think thunder was not a good way to go. Or lightning was not a good way to go, in my opinion. I don't think lightning weapons have the best attributes when it comes to the weapons, and I think that's what hurts this the most. If anything, I'd rather have been able to like pick the unique effect and the perk separately from just picking the weapons, like both the weapons special perks itself. I would have rather been able to take the savagery stuff from this one and add it to the extra bonus you get to the behemoth's head. I would have rather have been able to do that for it to feel like it has much more value. In terms of like a build route I would go for this, I would probably go like a lantern build. Like, you know, you get perks for every time you pop off on a lantern. You pop off your hold ability or something like that. I feel like that's the only way you could potentially make it work. But in terms of like using this to grind instead of just being cool, I'd rather just, you know, use any other weapon or continue going with the builds I'm going for right now. I don't think it's like too good of a weapon. Like I said, if they were going to go this route, I wish they would have did a different element, but I'm only assuming like this is pretty much their test run. I feel like when you grind for a weapon like this, you know, you have to go through like trials and tribulations, it has to be worth it. This weapon is not worth it in my opinion, except for the variety and the potential it has. But because it is a lightning weapon and you can't mix and match the way I want it to, it hurts it so much. Like imagine it, you know, sort of being like a fire weapon, which would be really cool. And like I said, I don't want it to be like, you know, you have to take both that weapon's perks. I'd rather it be like, you know, you can take, you know, the perk if you want to, and then the unique effect of any weapon. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather it be like that. You know, maybe they might change it, maybe not. But I'd rather have, you know, a fire ability where the 5th hit in a row deals, you know, 150 stagger damage. Or the 8th hit does extra 250 damage and blaze damage. The lightning perks aren't good enough to want to be able to use this weapon. They're bad. If I'm being blunt, they're bad. In my opinion, they're really bad. Just bear with me for a second, because I know I feel like I'm rambling and I'm just like calling it shit. And I'm not trying to. I'm like I said, I feel like this is a test of what Dauntless could potentially do. I like the concept of it a lot. So imagine like having, you know, a weapon like this with dark damage, and you have, you know, the Stalker scoring buff, so you get Wild Frenzy 3 and Shadow Orbs. Plus, you got cells where you're not bound by certain cell laws. Oh, there's a lot more variety and possibility in what you can do in the end-game Dauntless, which is what I want. Or just having something like this with lightning perks and the legendary ability is cool as shit, or something like that. Like, there's so many options and so many routes they could have done. I feel like they just kind of let us down with this one. But, you know, hopefully they get together, so I'm going to stop rambling. Just straight up, is the weapon worth it? I don't think so. I don't think it's good enough to be able to compete with other things. But in terms of variety and being able to do sort of what you want with it, is up there. But in terms of like just the legendary ability damage and the bonds you can get from other weapons of its kind, is not worth it. It's terrible. But that's going to be the end of this video. Hope y'all gained some insight from it. Learned a little bit. And if you think I'm wrong, please tell me why you think I'm wrong in the comments. Or if you have any other ideas you think they could implement into introducing legendary weapons like this, do let me know. I'm all up for the conversation. This is just my thought process on what they've done so far. Like, I'm enjoying Escalation a lot, but this needs to change. Or it can be made better. But that's it. It's your boys, Where's Fluffy from FOG Networks. And until the next video, peace.